Hello everybody. The biosphere there of Montreal, set up in the 1967 Expo, dominates the skyline of this wonderful city. It's a beautiful afternoon here. Get out of the racetrack, we often get safety cars and they can play havoc with your race strategy. A 10-second lead can quickly be converted to nothing. Today then boils down to a battle of nerve really, and a battle of cunning between Hamilton and Alonso. It's not ideal for either man to have to race against his own teammate. Both of them would prefer to be sitting alongside a Ferrari driver on the grid. There are rules to be observed through this difficult first corner here in Montreal. Mustn't take each other off, that's the first rule of motorsport. But both will be going for it, big style here this afternoon. Alonso says he can't win the championship this afternoon, and he's right about that. But we saw him taking some risks at the start in Barcelona, and it didn't pay off for him. And maybe Lewis Hamilton might just be able to take advantage of that. There is the front of the grid. You see Heidfeld outstanding in the BMW to take that third place. Some people believe Ferrari are carrying a bit of extra fuel because they didn't feel they could compete with McLaren in qualifying. They're trying something different from the race, but others feel that Ferrari are just off colour as they were in Monte Carlo. Mark Webber, looking for his first points of the season, starts in 6th place. Nico Rosberg has been fast all weekend. He could pick something up here this afternoon. Fisichella made a little mistake in his qualifying, could have been further up the grid. And then in the thick of the midfield, David Coulthard and Jenson Button. Not finding the speed here in Montreal. Button, the previous pole sitter from 2005. Ralf Schumacher again a little bit off colour in the Toyota. And Heikki Kovalainen, you see there at the back, he's had a nightmare weekend. An engine failure on Saturday morning dropped him back 10 places on the grid, but he only qualified 19th anyway after he became one of a number of drivers, Martin, to hit the wall this weekend. You've raced here many times. It's difficult to stay out of those walls, isn't it, if you're pushing like mad?
It is, and it's so nice to see a wall next door to the race circuit actually, which challenges the drivers. It's bumpy, the curbs are variable, some of them very steep and aggressive, and you see the drivers really having to fight to keep the car on track, which I have to say is a pleasure to see compared to some of the billiard table circuits we go to. Not that they're all wrong, but it is just nice to see a guy having to keep the car from just skimming along the wall. And remember last year, James, the two-star drivers here last year were Michael Schumacher, in my view, and David Coulthard, the two wiser, older heads. And it was a race of attrition, drivers making errors, as we've seen all through free practice and qualifying. And, well, it'll be certainly interesting to see if Lewis, with such a posse of Grand Prix winners behind him, and, of course, the double world champion, can he keep it out of the wall, keep his head? It's going to be supremely impressive if he does. They push the cars back a bit, switch off the traction control and lay a line of rubber down, and that's why they just move them back off the line, and just to give themselves slightly better grip away from the start itself.
Capacity 110,000 crowd here. No Jacques Villeneuve on the grid, the Canadian local hero of the last few years, but it's not put the Canadians off at all. They've turned out in their numbers throughout the weekend. A very impressive spectacle. Tremendous support for Formula One in this part of the world. There's the two contenders this afternoon. Alonso slow away, has he? No, he hasn't stalled it. He's gets going, so does Heidfeld. And I think psychologically, Martin, it's a very, very interesting battle between these two drivers. Alonso can't afford, given how close Hamilton has been to him all season anyway, with no experience, he can't afford to let him have that extra boost of confidence that a first victory would give him, because he wants to keep him in his box, doesn't he? And keep him in his place. And if Lewis was unleashed, I think he might feel that he might become uncontrollable for Alonso.
Absolutely, and of course next race, next weekend, Alonso traditionally has struggled at Indianapolis, so he needs to keep Lewis in check this afternoon. If we're right, we think that Alonso has about 2 laps more fuel than Lewis Hamilton. That's the story. It's the man I was drinking tequila shots with last night, and I've got a headache, and I hope he has too. And if we're right, then all Alonso's got to do is just stay close to Lewis through the early stages, and then just put the hammer down during the 2 laps. He can stay out a little bit longer to seize the high ground. And of course it's the role reversal exactly of Monte Carlo, isn't it? There's a car down there on the it's just equipment. There's so much equipment still making its way off the grid as they're around the back of the circuit on the warm-up lap.
Yeah, well, certainly pit tactics will be an important part of the game. We're expecting 2 refueling and tyre stops here this afternoon, and they turn them around pretty quickly in Formula One. It's the timing of that, and of course both types of tyre have to be used during the course of the race. We have a soft and a super soft tyre as we ride on board here with Kimi Räikkönen, but again, completely different sort of circuit from Monte Carlo, where overtaking is virtually impossible. Here, overtaking is quite possible, and there are several places to do it. We've got long straights leading into tight braking zones, just kicking a bit of dry ice there off the racetrack and the pit lane. And Schumacher, very interesting to see him continuing to come to races. I was talking to someone who was very close to him in his Benetton days last night, who said there was a guy who was so focused when he was a racing driver, and yet now he seems to be sort of drifting without any particular role, and it's very unusual to see Michael putting this much effort in after his retirement. A lot of people are very surprised to see him, but he's an advisor to Ferrari. He's certainly been helping Felipe Massa a great deal. And you can see how warm it is here in Montreal. 54 degrees the track temperature, 27 the air temperature. A perfect blue sky day for a Grand Prix. 70 laps coming up.
The tyre warming going on, but it's quite a short run down to that first corner. And of course, they've got so little front tyre temperature when they get there. You can use the power to heat up the rears. That is a BMW that's a long way forward in its slot. I think he'll get away with that, but it's so easy to overshoot the slot. There's a little sensor in each grid position so that this man, Charlie Whiting, the race director, can know immediately, as soon as the start has taken place, if anybody was moving when the lights go out.
Christian Albers in the Spiker will start from the pit lane after some gearbox problems. Well, Anthony Hamilton was telling me half an hour ago that his heartbeat reaches 180 degrees. He measured it at the last race at the start of the Grand Prix. It must be going through the roof now with his son Lewis on pole position. What happened with Kimi Räikkönen as Jenson Button walks in? Räikkönen started in front of Massa on the grid, and yet he was passed by him through turn 1, and it looked as though there was contact there, and the front wing just flexed a little bit on Räikkönen's car. What sort of lap times is he doing? Low 118.3s. Massa's doing 117s, but Räikkönen is tucked up behind Nico Rosberg, and that might account for some of the reason why he's struggling there. But it's interesting. Räikkönen needed the points here. He's 15 points behind Hamilton and Alonso going into this Grand Prix, struggling to establish himself in the Ferrari team, and there's a lot of long faces down at Ferrari about the performance.
0.2 ahead of Fernando Alonso.
And Rosberg are shorter than you. You need to stay with them.
To keep the driver informed at all times on the tactics. There's Albers, who started from the pit lane. A lot of people have done that this weekend.
It's strange, you don't realise you're having that accident. We've all been in that wall at some time. It looks like he might get away with that one, but it all seems absolutely as per norm. Once again then Hamilton's lead increasing, now 3.8 seconds over Heidfeld, 5 seconds ahead of Alonso. This is a disaster. Now Coulthard will be on a different strategy to Mark Webber, so he's led him through to have a go at the Honda of Barrichello. Coulthard will be fueled longer. He was outside the top 10. Webber, 6th on the grid, undoubtedly will be fueled short.
So Alonso and Rosberg clearly did have to come in. They would have run out of fuel if they had not made their stops at that point, and they had to just take the pain. Obviously they will do, but concern here for Robert Kubica. An absolutely enormous accident.
The other problem there is the wall starts coming back towards the racetrack, so it's not that you can just slide along it. It really was very much a head-on impact. And, he touched to be about 170 miles an hour. Going around the outside of the Toyota, it seems as if the Toyota didn't know he was there. And as soon as he hit often you get a little roadway for the emergency services and marshals to use, and it just launched him up into the air.
Michael Schumacher there, who was very involved with the Grand Prix Drivers Association throughout his Formula One career, working very hard for safety in Formula One, in terms of runoff areas, in terms of strengthening the cars, and trying to keep the drivers as safe as possible. It's inherently a dangerous business, this, but certainly Schumacher, along with yourself, Martin, and a number of others, Gerhard Berger, working hard on that side of things. That's the order at the moment then, under the second safety car condition here in Montreal. Hamilton leading Heidfeld, Alonso third, Rosberg fourth, but both of those men will have to serve a 10-second stop-and-go penalty, which will drop them a long way back. Barrichello, Wirtz, Davidson and Ralf Schumacher, the top 8.
Curious situation. It's not the normal safety car at the front of the car. So where the Mercedes entry, we don't know at the moment, but it's lap 29.
Concentrate on your race, mate. Concentrate on your race. Keep the tyre pressures up. Keep tyre pressures up.
Message there for Heikki Kovalainen. Keep the tyre pressures up whilst they're going slowly behind the safety car, obviously, as things cool down. The temperatures drop. Look at all the debris. That's Kubica's accident, as seen by Tonio Liuzzi. Debris everywhere. Flying wheels. And,
surprise.
That's what happened. Carbon fibre body part getting stuck under the right front wheel of Liuzzi. They'll have to come in and clear that. To put on the least favourable race tyre, which is the Super Soft, the one with a white stripe on it, and presumably they'll come straight back in again afterwards, so that they'll have fulfilled their obligation to use it for at least one lap during the race, but they can then race on the faster tyre for the rest of the race. Lewis Hamilton not doing that, neither's Heidfeld. Alonso and Rosberg will have...
We put you on prime.
That's what I was talking about. They're going to bring him round and put him back onto the favourable race tyre. This is an opportunity for a number of cars and drivers here. The pit lane is open, so those who've gone for the Super Soft, and it looks like quite a lot of people have, will now come back in again. So the race order will be completely jumbled around for the cars in the midfield that took this gamble. Approaching the halfway stage of the Canadian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton is leading from Heidfeld and Alonso, but we are under our second safety car of the afternoon after an enormous accident suffered by Robert Kubica. He's still in the car. The medical team are working with him down at the hairpin. These are drivers who pop you have to use both types of tyre. During it's proved to be quite a difficult tyre to manage. They've taken advantage of this safety car situation to just do one lap on that tyre and then to come back out again, and they will race for the rest of the Grand Prix on the more preferred tyre. There is Lewis Hamilton, picked up by the safety car with Heidfeld behind him, but Alonso and Rosberg both were forced to pit during the first safety car period. They would have run out of fuel, I believe, otherwise, and so they both have to serve a 10-second stop-and-go penalty. So Lewis Hamilton's principal opposition in this Grand Prix, his own teammate Fernando Alonso, will lose a lot of places. The Ferrari challenge has faded, but at the moment we're all thinking about Robert Kubica. This is some of the debris from his car, and let's see if Ted Kravitz can shed some light on where we go from here.
Yeah,
down in the pits. No news from the team as yet. Just to let you know what's going to be happening. Fortuitously, the medical centre is actually right down very near where Kubica had the accident. It's actually on the other side of the track from the hairpin down there. So what will be happening now, Dr. Gary Hartstein, Dr. Jacques Troppenow, who are the FIA doctors, they'll be supervising the Canadian doctors, who are very good here. They've had a lot of experience, of course, recently when Olivier Panis broke his legs back about 10 years ago. They'll be supervising the Canadian doctors, and they'll be stabilising Kubica and then moving him to the medical centre. That's the other side of the track from where they are, and whenever we know anything more from BMW Sauber, we'll let you know.
Look, the main monocoque is intact. It looks like its fire extinguisher is just going off, but congratulations to the FIA for the each part of the racetrack.
When the safety car comes in, it's a bit of a sprint to the next stop. There will be people behind you fueled longer.
Just a bit of info for Mark Webber to let him know, because as a driver you get completely confused during this kind of phase of a race, because it all just keeps moving around you, but Hamilton's at the front of this queue, closely followed by Heidfeld. Saying that BMW is, the tub is pretty much intact, but the impact into that wall, and luckily he didn't fly over the wall, otherwise he would have been meeting the cars coming the other way. You really do go down one side of the wall, turn around the hairpin and come back again. It's always been there, that corner, but what can you do? It's really almost effectively halfway down the straight. It wasn't an accident in a corner as such, and it's so difficult to legislate and plan for.
That's the order then, the top 8. Hamilton, Heidfeld, Alonso, Rosberg, Davidson, who hasn't stopped, Ralf Schumacher, who hasn't stopped either, Mark Webber and Felipe Massa, who has stopped after the pit lane was open, so they're fine. But Alonso and Rosberg will both have to serve 10-second stop-and-go penalties, which will drop them down through the field. I wouldn't be confident in predicting the order of the midfield at the moment, because a lot of drivers are going to be changing their tyres and one thing and another. It'll only be when we go green flag racing again that we'll get a clear idea of exactly where everybody is. But certainly as far as the front runners are concerned, that is the story.
I can't understand why Rosberg and Alonso haven't served their penalty straight away. They don't want to be doing it under racing conditions. They should have got in and out again, and maybe they'll pop down the pit lane this time, and Rosberg hasn't, nor has Alonso. So I wonder why they're not going in and getting that out of the way.
Well, we'll check the rule book, but I would think it's not so much of a penalty if it takes place under a safety car situation.
Okay, mate, you're going to have to warm the tyres.
Safety cars in Formula 1 means that the tyre pressures drop down, and they're less than where the drivers want them once they start racing again. So it's a very difficult moment, the restart. For the drivers, they have to feel out where the car is under them. The safety car will be in at the end of this lap. We'll be racing again. That's a replay of the accident of Robert Kubica hitting the concrete wall on the outside.
Move there on both parts, but it nearly cost him a front wheel, didn't it, later on? What an adventurous afternoon he's had. The two Massa brothers then, and Felipe not at all happy, of course. He went out of the pit lane, the red light was on, and what happens is, my understanding is that when the safety car approaches the pit zone with the queue of cars behind, they close the end of the pit lane. Difficult for me to know exactly where the safety car was from the shots we had, but both Massa and Fisichella are penalised for ignoring the red light. Safety car is in this lap. That's strange, because we've got a little four-wheel drive buggy on the pit lane, pit straight here.
I think it's a glitch on the computer, because they've sent another message saying it's been deployed, so a glitch on the computer. There's Tony Oliuzzi explaining what happened. He joins a long list of great drivers who've been in that wall. Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve, Damon Hill, to name but 3. Jenson Button here a couple of years ago as well. So 14 laps to go to the end, and this is helping Lewis Hamilton, I imagine. It's laps he doesn't have to do on these less favourable soft tyres, although quite a lot of his cars around him are also on the soft tyre at the end of this race, including his only opposition really, which is Nick Heidfeld. So in the closing stages, if it stays like this, and everybody finishes where they are at the moment, which on a day like today you wouldn't want to gamble on anything. Hamilton would have 48 points, Alonso 38 points, Massa 33 and Raikkonen 25. So Hamilton would have a 15-point lead over the nearest Ferrari and a 10-point lead over his own teammate Fernando Alonso. Nick Heidfeld, if he stays in second place, would actually leapfrog Kimi Räikkönen and have 26 points, would move into fourth place in the World Championship. But what a situation that would be for McLaren, for their rookie driver to be 10 points clear of the two-time world champion as we approach the halfway stage in this Formula One World Championship. 110,000 capacity crowd here in Montreal. It's the 29th year in a row that Formula One has visited Montreal. They love their racing in this part of the world. Of course, they got into it thanks to Gilles Villeneuve, after whom this circuit is named. It's the 25th anniversary of his death in the Ferrari, 1982, of course, this year. And there's been a lot of celebrations, a major exhibition of photographs and memorabilia of the great Gilles Villeneuve in downtown Montreal this week. A lot of visitors have been in to see that. And a huge influx of people to Canada for this race from the United States, from South America and Central America as well. You've had a real mixture of accents and voices you hear on the streets of this very cosmopolitan city during Grand Prix weekend. Well, it's been an eventful afternoon, to put it mildly. Ted Kravitz, what's going on in the pit lane?
I don't understand this one. Rubens Barrichello and Alex Wurz have to stop again. They're not fueled to the finish. So why aren't they stopping now? It's very strange. I've just been into the pit lane, and Honda, they came out when the safety car was deployed and then went back in again, and it looks like they're not bringing him in. So they're going to waste more time when he has to pit when everybody else is at racing speeds.
Same thing happened with Mark Webber, who was running in second place to come in just at the last restart. Hamilton, Heidfeld, Barrichello, Wurz, Kovalainen, Trulli, Räikkönen, Ralf Schumacher, with Alonso 9th, but I can guarantee you that will not be the order 13 laps from now when this race finishes.
Yeah, I don't know if the pit lane was officially open last time those cars came into the end of the lap, whether they could actually get down the pit lane, Ted. But Hamilton then still at the front of the queue, closely followed by Heidfeld, as the Toyota of Jarno Trulli pits from what was 6th place.
Yep, so Trulli drops out. That moves Alonso up a place. He's back into the points now. The lap cars may now overtake. Means that, as I said before, getting the slower cars out of the way of the faster cars, so that at the restart we can have a straight race, which is what everybody wants to see, rather than slow cars getting in the way.
There's been so many safety cars where they've released the lap cars. There aren't any lapped cars at the moment. They're all on the lead lap, so there's no overtaking to be done there. We've got 13 runners at the moment from the original 22 that started the Grand Prix.
Absolutely.
Adventure he's had through turn 1 today, been off there 4 times so far.
4 times, including the opening of the race, the start, the run. He tried to get around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. It didn't work out for him, and not only did he not come out of it in second place, it came out in third place. Really set the tone for this Grand Prix. Hamilton streaked away at the start. He's had as big a lead at one point as 20 seconds over the rest of the field. He's had to keep his composure, though, through 4 safety car periods. You couldn't pick a more difficult first race to try and win than this one. It has been absolutely extraordinary. We've had a major accident involving Robert Kubica in the BMW. Delighted to hear from his manager that he's okay, and apparently no bones broken. He's talking, and he's in the local hospital here in Montreal. That's great news. And what an afternoon this has been. Just 9 to go then for Lewis Hamilton. Well, we saw Jarno Trulli throw it into the barriers there on his way out of the pit lane, and that's given away his chance of scoring any points this afternoon. His teammate, though, Ralf Schumacher, is in 8th at the moment, and he could really do with a point.
Massa and Fisichella then disqualified for passing the red light at the end of the pit lane, and the red light is only on when the safety car is anywhere near the pits. I'm not sure whether I got exactly the right picture there or a delayed picture. It didn't appear to be near the pits at that time, but clearly the stewards thought so and disqualified those two cars. Hamilton leads lap 63, up to 1.9 seconds now his lead from Heidfeld. Barrichello third for Honda, and this is a Toyota being looked at heavily by Takuma Sato. Ralf Schumacher we're on board with. Sato thinking of a look down the outside, and Ralf Schumacher covering his ground well there.
And this is for the all-important last World Championship point for 8th place. Sato's already scored one of those, and that's worth an awful lot to him from the Spanish Grand Prix, of course. Several teams yet to get off the mark this year, including Honda, Jenson Button's team, and Spiker and Toro Rosso. So there goes Barrichello from third place, so he does have to refuel again. Wirtz then is in a podium position on the track where he made his Formula One debut 10 years ago, Alex Wirtz. He sat it out for 5 years as a test driver. He's had a really torrid start to his return to racing. And look at this, here comes Sato on Ralf Schumacher. He really wants that point.
Sato
in fact,
driving.
he's in the point because Barrichello's dropped out, so Sato is up into 8th. He's looking for 2 points here.
Driving superbly well, Takuma Sato has been all weekend. Why did Honda not pit under the safety car once the pit lane was open? We'll find out hopefully after the race. Wirtz is a man going quite quickly in P3, but we think he's got to stop again yet. It's lap 64. Hamilton's built the lead up to 3.5 seconds. Just added 1.6 to that. He has an answer for Lewis Hamilton today.
Or yesterday. In qualifying, he was absolutely outstanding. Alonso set the first marker in the final part of qualifying. Hamilton went out and just took the perfect line through this incredibly difficult final chicane and got the lap time in. Alonso was up in sectors 1 and 2. It looked as though he was going to take the pole away from Hamilton, but he got it wrong at the chicane. He made the mistake. Hamilton did not. And that's what gave Hamilton the pole. And it's been a similar story here this afternoon. Alonso has made the mistake. Station amongst the drivers of being a bit unpredictable. That will have been on Alonso's mind. But the main thing for him is he cannot afford an accident. He's got to try and win a world championship. And with his teammate in this kind of form, Hamilton, about to go on to his final lap of this Grand Prix, Alonso knew he couldn't take any chances.
It is 2.4 behind Heidfeld. Heidfeld's managed to stop that advance. Wirtz looking solid for a podium. And Kovalainen still fourth, comfortably fourth, 3.3 ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, who's had a very lackluster afternoon. There is Kovalainen. Hamilton then on his final lap.
And Sato would have been even higher up than this if he hadn't had the mix-up in his pit stop in his final Scurry team. Come through in second place, but you could not imagine a tougher race for a rookie to try and win than this one. We've had 4 safety cars here this afternoon. Lewis Hamilton has managed to keep it all together, and he is now on the run down to the final corner. We're following this scrap between second and third places. I'd like to see Lewis though through the final corners. There he is. Well, he's rewriting the book of what is possible.
Stick the order yourself. Highfield, Alex Wirtz, Kovalainen, Kimi, Sato, Fernando, and Ralph. And Kubica has broken his leg, but is pretty much okay. So yeah, excellent job.
Welcome back to Montreal, where after an hour and 3/4 of torture for Lewis Hamilton, with 4 safety car periods that ate into his lead that he'd built up every single time, he has won his first Formula One Grand Prix here in Montreal. He now leads the World Championship from his teammate Fernando Alonso by 8 points, and look at the margin to the 2 Ferrari drivers. Räikkönen falling away now, 21 points behind the championship leader. And the way Ferrari have been going, Martin, you have to say at the moment it does look as though it it might be a straight fight between the two McLaren guys in the second half of the season. And if that's the case, then who knows where this adventure in his debut year for Lewis Hamilton might end. We go next, of course, to Indianapolis, which is Alonso's lead margin for McLaren over Ferrari. 28 points now in the Constructors. One black spot on the afternoon, though, is the news that Robert Kubica, who had a major accident around the halfway stage, we're told from the hospital, does have a broken leg. So we wish him well, but he's up and talking, apparently. But nevertheless, he does have a broken leg as Lewis Hamilton comes into the Parc Fermé.
It'll be the third podium for Alex Wurz. Lewis only knows Parc Fermé. He finished third, second, now first. He's never had to go.
Who've nurtured him for such a long time. There's Dr. Aki Hinkser, the man behind Lewis and the physical and mental side of his preparation. Strictly speaking, you're not supposed to shake hands with anybody in the Parc Fermé, but I think everyone will forgive Lewis his exuberance. Mike Negline there, the team coordinator, just reminding him of his responsibilities. Ron Dennis there. And Herbie Blasch just taking him round to... There's Norbert Haug, the boss of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport. Martin Whitmarsh, the managing director of McLaren F1 team. What a moment.
He's so excited he hasn't taken his crash helmet off yet. Gets away now so that they can add his weight all kitted up to the weight of the car, make sure it's legal at the end of the race. And well, they're going to be happy, aren't they? As we all are. What a drive. What a challenging afternoon. The track was breaking up at turn 10. Debris all over the place. 4 safety cars, and he was faultless.
That's as good as anything I've seen in 17 years of this sport. The most difficult conditions imaginable. You can tell how hard it was out there by the number of cars that hit the wall. It was slippery, it was dangerous, and it was difficult. And on top of that, he kept seeing these massive leads eroded. 20-second lead wiped out, the first safety car. Where will it all end? What kind of career lies ahead of Lewis Hamilton? I was talking to one person who worked very closely with Alonso over many years during his Renault era, and he thinks that in a couple of years' time no one will be able to get anywhere near Lewis Hamilton. Once he picks up a bit more experience, a bit more know-how with the cars, he'll be the fastest guy out there. There's Heidfeld, very happy in second.
Yes, he's previously had 2 second places, three third places. Never a win, as you say, for Nick Heidfeld, but very well deserved.
A very emotional Ron Dennis there, a muted handshake. You could see the tears in his eyes, and you can see how much it means to him. There's Wurz. What a result for him. Fantastic. Was there ever a more popular winner? Another trophy for the Hamilton trophy cabinet, but this the most special by far that he's picked up. There have been so many over the years in karting, in Formula 3, in GP2, but that's the first Grand Prix Winners' Trophy. It's a wonderful club that he has just joined, and a pretty exclusive one at that.
22 years old. The pressure, the focus, the expectation on him. Martin Whitmarsh there. McLaren really looking super strong this year, aren't they? And Martin been with the team a long time. it's nice to see him up there.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how everyone regroups, Ferrari in particular, after this second setback in a row. Monaco, they were pulverised. Here, Heidfeld picking up second place for BMW. It's hard to judge how far off McLaren they were on pace because it was such a chaotic race. There's Roger Pert, who was the original designer of this racetrack, one of the stewards. He's also the president of the Canadian Motorsport Association. And he can't believe how much Formula One has grown and almost outgrown the facility he designed nearly 30 years ago. In the middle of the throng is Anthony Hamilton. Doesn't look like him.
Congratulations to the three podium finishers of the Canadian Grand Prix. Third for the AT&T Williams team, Alexander Wurz. Second for BMW Sauber, Nick Heidfeld. And celebrating the 150th podium for the McLaren-Mercedes Alliance and scoring his first ever Grand Prix victory for Vodafone McLaren-Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton. Lewis, what a day. 4 safety cars. Obviously that big accident with Robert, who we hear is okay now. But what a day for you.
It has been a fantastic day. I mean, it's just history. I mean, to come here, my first time in Canada, really, it's been a fantastic season already. We've had 6 podiums, and I'm ready. I've been ready for quite some time for the win. It was just a matter of when and where. And the team
And Lewis, now it is behind you. That first win is behind you. Talk us through the closing stages. What was going through your mind? What did it feel like to take the checkered flag?
Well, it was, as I said, we sat behind the pace car for quite some time, so it sort of dulled down for a while. And then it was about just building it back up, and the team did a great job in getting me out and getting me in before the first pace car. And so I was sort of out in the clean air, and I was very fortunate. I had a good pace. Nick wasn't very close to me, so I was able to keep a good gap. And then the last few laps, I was just counting them down. I could see my board. And I'm the type of guy that usually push right to the end, but it's a tricky circuit, and if you make one mistake, you get on the marbles during the wall. So I quietened down towards the end and just enjoyed it, and it really was just about enjoying the whole moment.
And you made a great start too. Nick Heidfeld right behind you going in there, and then Fernando on the outside. I say a great start. You came out of the second corner in front anyway.
Yes, I made quite a poor getaway, to be honest. I don't know what exactly happened. I'm supposed to have a certain amount of revs, and I went over it and then under to try and get it back. And so I had a pretty poor start, and I saw Nick getting close, so I had to close the door. And then I saw Fernando fly past, and obviously I didn't want him coming past, but somehow he got onto the marbles, I think, and went straight on. And I just took the corner as normal, and then Fernando came flying past. It was quite it's quite exciting still, and it was just great to get out in front.
Great to talk to you on this momentous day. Congratulations. Moving to you, Nick. Qualified third, finished second. A fantastic day for you also and for the team.
Yeah, it was great, and definitely a special moment was the start, as we just spoke about. I had a fantastic start. Easily overtook Fernando, was right behind Lewis in the slipstream. Tried to get to the inside, but he closed the door, and I saw that Alonso was probably just pushing a bit too hard, and then went off. And then the safety cars, I was, let's put it that way, I was not unlucky. But I lost a lot of the time I pulled on the other guys behind me. But I have to say the team did a great job today. I was happy to hear that Robert is okay. It was difficult to get some information at some point. You just saw the car on the side with nothing left, and I think he's fine.
Obviously very, very difficult conditions today for the drivers. Talk about that and the marbles offline.
Well, actually, I think it's not acceptable that we have that many marbles here again. I doubt that it's just the rubber of the tires coming loose. We've had it yesterday. Probably Fernando lost the pole due to that. We've seen in turn 10 that they did something to the circuit. We had it numerous times in the last couple of years. And okay, we are the best in the world, and we should keep online. But we speak about centimeters. You just go off half a meter, and you lose a lot, or you can even crash. So that was a difficult thing again.
Congratulations to you, Nick. Thank you. And Alexander Wirtz, P3 in the Canadian Grand Prix. 24 hours ago, that would have seemed like a dream.
Yes, it's still a dream, I mean, I had a difficult weekend, never found the rhythm, but hey, if you just keep pushing, I showed the whole year that I'm a strong racer. Today I was a bit lucky as well as just keeping the pace all the time on the option tires, out for very long, very difficult. But the car was running fine, no problems, and I did no mistakes, so I'm really pleased to bring that third one home. Well,
Alex, you say difficult with the option tire, the only driver, the only finisher on a one-stop strategy. What was it like in that second phase of the race?
Well, to be honest, it was hell. So I thank God for the safety cars, because the tire just grained to bits. What I did just on the tactics, I really scraped the tire as much as I can just to get rid of the graining quickly. And that was very important, because in the end I had Kovalainen behind me on the prime tire. So by then my tire cleaned up and I could control the pace. I got actually close to Nick, but wasn't enough laps. But anyway, I'm super happy, third. Exactly in my 10th year's anniversary. That's a bit kitsch, but I take it.
Absolutely, and great to have Williams back on the podium for the first time in just over 2 years. Returning to you, Lewis, finally for your thoughts, leading the championship, going to Indianapolis now next weekend. Not too much time to enjoy this win of yours, but nonetheless, I guess it'll be a great evening for you.
It will, and there is plenty of time to enjoy it. I have to say hello to all my family back home. I know they're all sitting at home watching and supporting me, and to all the fans, they've been great, and the team. What a job they've done back in Woking, in Brixworth and in Stuttgart to prepare the car and make it quicker than everyone's. And really, it's a big thank you to them. But going into Indy, obviously I go there with great confidence. We have to try and continue with the performance that we have, and I have no doubt we can do that.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, if we could have some words from Nick Heidfeld and Alex in their own language, starting with Nick in German.
Ja, war ein perfektes Wochenende letztendlich mit dem zweiten Platz. Was mich besonders glücklich macht, ist die Tatsache, dass ich wahrscheinlich auch Zweiter geworden wäre ohne das ganze Chaos. Ich war vor dem Fernando, bin weggezogen und hätte da, glaube ich, auch bleiben können. Dann war es natürlich schön, während des Rennens zum Schluss zu hören, dass dem Robert wahrscheinlich gut geht, dass er vielleicht einen Knochenbruch hat, aber anscheinend für den Crash, den er hatte, wäre das noch akzeptabel. Wieder zurück zum Rennen. Über die Safety Cars war ich nicht ganz glücklich. Ich war zwar nicht sehr schlimm dadurch betroffen, auf der anderen Seite habe ich viel Zeit verloren, die ich mir schon rausgefahren hatte. Und jetzt noch was anderes, möchte ich meine Familie grüßen, meine Freundin Patricia und meine kleine Tochter Juni. Ich hoffe, wir sind noch an Air. Ich liebe euch.
Thank you, Nick. And Alex also.
Ja, also ich bin da überhappy natürlich. 10 Jahre nach meinem ersten Grand Prix hier zu kommen, Dritter zu werden, schwieriges Rennen, echt schwer. Bin total happy. Natürlich ein Riesendanke an das Team. Da haben wir ein super Auto hingestellt, haben immer wirklich gut informiert im Rennen, haben die richtigen Entscheidungen getroffen. Und natürlich muss dem Nick folgen. Ich möchte meine Familie grüßen lassen, meine 2 Kinder, den Felix und den Charlie. Ich hoffe, sie schauen zu und natürlich die ganze Familie, alle Fans, Williams Team. Herzlichen Dank.